Hey, hello everyone, how are you all today? So, in the last video, we have discussed about what do you mean by communication, and we have also gone through the various different meanings of communication. So, this is so far we have come and we have completed these slides as you can see. Today, we'll be understanding various definitions as well as the characteristics of communication, which are very important to understand the basics first of all. And there were various previous year questions based on the characteristics as well as on the definitions. So these are certain popular definitions given by George Terry, Charles, and C.G. Brown. So certain times what happens in NTA UGC net exam is they give you a definition and they ask you a question that who gave this particular definition. You need to identify the author. So here understanding the communication is important and understanding his definition is more important. So the definition of communication is given by various people, but this is the most popular three definitions given. The first is communication is exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by two or more persons. This is given by George Terry, which is one of the simplest and you can say the easiest definition in communication. The second being given by Charles F is communication is a broad field of human interchange of facts and opinions and not the technologies of telephone, telegraph, radio, and the like. So this is the second definition. The last definition is given by C.G. Brown. The transfer of information from one person to another, whether or not it elides confidence, but the information transferred must be understandable to the receiver. So these three are various good definitions, I could say. And yes, now we can start with the characteristics of communication. So if you have any doubts in any particular point or in any particular definition, you can just mention in the comment section below and I would move forward. Apart from that, I would like to inform you one more thing. On the top right corner here where I'm highlighting here, you'll get a thing called I, that is called the I section of YouTube. So you'll get, if you just go and put your cursor there, you'll get an I section. If you go to that I section, you'll get the entire playlist of communication. So this is the second lecture of communication, which includes the definition and the characteristics. But if you want to see the first video of communication, that includes the basics of communication as well as its meaning. Okay, so you can see the playlist in the I section. Most of my videos, in all of my videos, you can get the I section to get the entire playlist. Okay, now let's start with the characteristics. Characteristics sometimes are also referred as features. So if they ask you features of communication, they're asking the same thing. And sometimes nature. So if they ask about the features or the nature or the characteristics, it is one and the same thing. You don't have to worry. Okay, now characteristics of communication. What is I'm really sorry. What are the characteristics of communication? So these are the 12 characteristics of communication. But when you start reading books, when you start referring to any books, like suppose if you are referring to K.V. Smidancer's book or Harpreet ma'am, Navdeep ma'am, True Man, or any other book, there are chances that you are going to get more number of characteristics than that from what is mentioned in the screen, or else less, or else a bit of different topics also. But it doesn't mean that this is wrong. No, I have covered as many characteristics as possible in this particular you can say slide, but there are chances that you can get one or two characteristics more from this. Okay, so that is a possibility. Now let's start with this. Two or more persons. Now this is very very simple. Communication is, you can say, something which is between two or more persons. So here you can see there are two persons, person A and B, who are communicating to each other, but there are chances where there can be more than two persons communicating to each other. So there can be two people or three people who communicate to each other on daily basis or on regular basis. Okay, so this is a chance that we can have a group communication, we can have a large number of people talking to each other, so that is also a possibility. Now moving forward to the next thing, exchange of ideas. So we can have two or more persons, that is clear. Exchange of ideas, if you see the image in this particular slide, here they are exchanging. This is what I have specifically mentioned in the last video, that A and B are sharing, are exchanging information, they're exchanging ideas, they're exchanging something, they're sharing something, right? So this is an exchange of ideas. It can be opinion, it can be any kind of fact, it can be any kind of information, etc. So here we are exchanging something. The next one is mutual understanding. Mutual understanding is very important. Mutual understanding is communicating to someone in such a way that the other person understands in the same sense in which the sender or the person who's speaking has communicated. So the sense should not change. Okay, so how does that take place? Let me give you a simple example for that. Suppose there are two friends. Let me take an example of two friends. We have one called B, that is black. Let me name this person as black, and let me name this person as purple. Okay, so Mr. B and Mr. P, fine. Mr. B is a good friend of Mr. P. Okay, so Mr. B, and then we have Mr. P. So one day what happened is, they were good friends, they used to communicate to each other and everything. So Mr. B once asked Mr. P that tomorrow is my examination and I need your box. So Mr. Black said that tomorrow is my examination and I would need your box. Okay, so he was referring to the geometry box. Okay, fine. But Mr. P could not understand this. He thought he was asking about the pencil box. Okay, fine. Only because Mr. B has said I need your box, only box. He did not mention the geometry box or the pencil box. Now try to understand. When Mr. Black communicated to Mr. Purple that I need your box, he was thinking that I was talking about the geometry box. But when P said, Mr. Purple agreed that okay, if you have the examination, you can take my box, I don't have a problem. He was trying to agree on the pencil box. Now try to understand. Though they have communicated with each other on a particular topic, that is box, but these both the people have different box in their mind. So here there is a lack of understanding. Communication needs understanding. Communication needs, this is the basic need of the communication, that what you have communicated, it should be represented in the same way. So if Mr. Black has specifically mentioned that I need your geometry box, then Mr. P might have understood that okay, this person is asking about the geometry box, not the pencil box. So this is the basic difference here. You need to have mutual understanding, or else your communication will not be complete. The next one is continuous process, means communication goes on a regular basis. It is something which is you can say, you cannot stop communication. Like when a child grows, he likes to talk to his parents, they like to make noises, they like to listen to their parents. And then when you go to schools, colleges, your office, and everywhere, you need communication. So communication is something which is never going to end. It can be verbal, non-verbal, it can be written, it can be in various forms, but yes, there is no end to communication. It will keep on taking place in every business, every venture, every organization, every institute, etc. Okay, the next is use of words as well as symbols and gestures. Yes, we can have communication through words, through letters, through verbal communication, non-verbal communication. There are various types of communication that we are going to learn in the further lectures. So yes, make sure you remember that we have various different types of communication. The next is primary purpose is to motivate a response. This is true. Any person who's trying to talk to you, if any person smiles at you, if any person waves at you, they need your response. That is why they are trying to communicate. So here, if you want to communicate with someone, it is just because you need a response, you need a reply, you need the other person to react on your communication. That is the basic motive of communication. The next one is communication can be formal and informal. Yes, this is also a further type of communication. Like we can classify communication on basis of groups, on basis of formality, on basis of verbal and everything. So here we can have communication formal nature, that is in school, colleges, offices, etc., and in informal between your friends, relatives and your family members. It flows up and down. Yes, we have upward communication, downward communication. These both are part of vertical communication. And then we have side by side communication, that is our horizontal communication, like this. Okay, it is also an integral part of process of exchange. This is very important. I'll put an asterisk here. Now listen to me carefully. It is an integral part of process of exchange. Suppose there is a previous year suppose there is a question asked in your examination, and there are previous year question asked on this particular line, that if they ask, communication is a dash process, communication is an exchange process. So you have to stress on this word exchange, because this becomes very very important for you. You need to understand that exchange is the key word here. You need to remember the keyword exchange. Okay, all pervasive means which you cannot touch. I'm sorry, not, that is intangible. Okay, pervasive means which exist everywhere. If you want to note it down, you can note it down. Exist everywhere means at any university, any college, any office, any household, any organization, public organization, private organization, there will be communication. So communication is something which is existent everywhere. You can find communication at any place, any point of time. So communication is something pervasive. It exists everywhere. It is everywhere. It is not bound to certain industry or certain university. No, it is everywhere. Okay, it is a two-way process. Yes, because one will say something, the other will reply. So it is a two-way process. So one will be communicating, the other will be giving the reply. Dynamic here means which keeps on changing. It's not the same. It's changing again and again. Like first we used to write letters to our friends and relatives, then we started calling them because we had the landline facility. Now we can text message them, and as of today we can just WhatsApp them. So what is this communication? The way we communicate, it keeps on changing, so it will change in the future also. Okay, so these are the characteristics of communication we have in Hindi also, and if you want more detail, you can just go through all the slides once, so to get a better idea of what I have explained. Fine. And if you have any more problems or any more issues, make sure you mention in the comment section, and please read this. Just pause the video and read the slides, because these slides are very very important, because these are the detailed slides which you need to at least read once for more clarity. Okay, now in the, when we meet the next, we will understand the objectives of communication and many other things. Fine, so let's meet in the next video. Take good care of yourself, study hard everyone, bye.